Coming up, is this the best world timer on the market? Let's find out.
You know what you're gonna be? Blasted.
Hello and welcome back to Automatic Reviews. I'm Mark. This week's review is of the super unique Nomos Club Sport Neomatik Worldtimer in the Jungle Colourway. But before we get to that, I'd just like to let you know that I put up videos every week, and my goal is to focus on the best watches at all price ranges. If that sounds good to you, then consider hitting that subscribe button. And while you're at it, tap that little bell icon too, so you can be notified each week when my latest video goes up. This week's video was not sponsored, but a special thank you to Nomos for loaning me this watch for review. However, regardless whether sponsored or not, the way we do things around here is I'll always tell you what I really think. I couldn't have it any other way. Before we continue, I just want to address the condition of the watch this week. The reality is that it's a review demo unit, and it's exchanged hands many times. This watch has seen some stuff, guys. In a couple of months, it's accumulated a couple of years' worth of scuffs, so I tried to get the best footage possible, but just be aware that there are times where the watch looks dusty or dirty, but that's often actually tiny gouges, burnished spots, and swirl patterns. This isn't stuff that you notice in real life, really. This watch still looks great, but I take a lot of macro close-up footage, and, the reality is that scuffs and scratches and, stuff like that shows up much more easily under those conditions. So I think you'll still be happy with the footage, but I just wanted to give you a heads up. All right, now let's take a look at this watch. Just a quick look at the unboxing. Given that it's a demo unit, most of the extras are absent, but I just wanted to show you that this watch comes in a leather zipper travel pouch. This watch has a 2-year warranty. The stainless steel case features no brushing and is entirely polished. The case is 40 millimeters across and 9.9 millimeters thick. The lug-to-lug is 48 millimeters, and the lug width is 20 millimeters. It has a screw-down sapphire display case back and a signed screw-down crown. When the crown is unscrewed, there's a red indicator visible as a reminder to screw it back down. The movement is Nomos' own automatic DUW 3202 caliber, with a power reserve of 42 hours. So far, it's delivering an impressive plus 2 seconds per day accuracy. There are loomed, polished, sword-shaped hands. The seconds hand is also polished, and it circulates around a recessed small seconds dial. Here's a quick loom shot. This watch features Superluminova, the Nomos logo, as well as the Arabic numerals, batons, and chapter ring, are all printed superbly on its dial, which is somewhere between a coyote brown and an olive drab green. I'll explain the Worldtimer features in just a few minutes, but this complication brings the following to the party. A bright pink hand rotating very slowly around a two-tone sky blue and green 24-hour subdial. A rotating green Worldtimer disc at the outside edge of the dial, which is controlled primarily by the pusher at 2 o'clock. And this inset button, designed to allow you to accurately align the Worldtimer disc after resetting the time. The installed crystal is sapphire with AR coating applied. Water resistance is 100 meters. Nomos watches are made in-house in Glashütte, Germany. The included bracelet is brushed with polished center links and has quick-release spring bars. The bracelet is adjusted with a pin-based system. It also features an all-polished clasp with their clever spring bar-based on-the-fly micro-adjust system. Here it is on my flat profile 7-inch wrist. Adjusted for me, it weighs 130 grams. This watch's current price is $6,840 Canadian, or about $4,980 US. Let's take a look at what you get for your money. Okay, so here's how the Worldtimer works. There are 2 time readouts, the main dial of the watch and this small 24-hour subdial. Both share the same minutes and seconds in common, so the only difference is with regard to the hour hands. You have to decide which 2 time zones you want to feature on your watch. Just to note, the time zone selected for the 24-hour subdial cannot be changed with any of the Worldtimer functions and can only be altered by pulling out the crown. That's why it's the first time you're going to set. So let's go ahead and set the subdial time to the current time in Glashütte where this watch was made. So you'll now probably notice that the time on the main dial isn't correctly aligned to my current time zone here in Canada. The way to fix that and restore the World Timer functionality is to move the World Timer disk to NYC, which is my time zone, Eastern Standard Time. The selected time zone will have that bold pink line under it. And then using this recess button on the side, manually correct the main hour hand until it displays the correct time that corresponds to the selected time zone. Now that you've done this, you have Glashütte time in the subdial and Eastern Standard Time in the main dial. Then with the press of the large World Timer button at 2 o'clock, you can now shift time zones and see what time it is all around the world. Pretty clever stuff. The only low I can think up for this watch is the fact that the bracelet is adjusted via the old hammer and pin routine. For a watch this high quality and in this price range, I'd really rather see them move on to a screw-based system. The clasp appears to be upside down compared to what we're used to, like all Nomos watches. I personally find it refreshing and certainly inoffensive, but I've seen some reviewers complaining about it, so I'll list it as a mid, even though I have no clue why it would bother you. The World Timer complication is quite interesting and might even be critically useful to some people in their line of work, but I can't help but think that with the availability of phone-based tracking of international times and the infrequency at which most people would need to access that sort of feature, that those that are not absolutely lured in by this watch's cool factor might consider another watch in the Club Sport lineup instead. Might be a better value for their money, so I'll call this complication a mid on that basis. My own personal Nomos Club Campus is as close to perfect as I've seen when it comes to macro lens performance. Don't get me wrong, this watch has performed really well overall, and we'll talk about that later, but I feel as though there were a few spots such as here at the bottom left of the sub-seconds dial, and here center right of the 24-hour dial. That just seemed a bit out of place. I've confirmed with Nomos what you'd expect. These units are selected for review and of course never sold. Now, to be clear, this is under serious magnification, so this is really nitpicky stuff. These are minor flaws. It's not something I think should realistically impact someone's buying choices, even if this was a retail unit. As with the naked eye, this watch looks pretty much perfect in every way. It's just, as you know, I share all my thoughts with you guys, so we'll call it a mid, but more on the macros as you might expect in the highs. Yes, there were a few tiny imperfections under strong magnification, but overwhelmingly and unsurprisingly, the macros were really good on this watch. Nomos watches just stand out so much for their attention to detail and just their simple, elegant beauty. Their designs are perfectly realized from the very small parts and tiny details that all serve as building blocks for the larger picture. Beautiful stuff. Speaking of beautiful, let's talk about the caseback view at a distance. It's really great. From the perlage to the gorgeous Glashütte stripes to the striking gold accented rotor. This is the perfect example of a watch where you want to have that display caseback. You might not look at it every day, but from time to time you'll remember it's there and marvel at the engineering and artistry. It's a stunner. We of course can't forget about the dial. The color theory on display here is impressive. There is such a mix of colors at work here, but they blend together brilliantly. And I think that's true of all the special editions and the regular models as well. Nomos has done that magic they do on this design. Even the World Timer elements don't make the watch look cramped or overly complicated. And it's totally different from all the other World Timers out there, which usually feature some pretty heavy globe motifs. Other than that really cool globe icon on the rotor, this watch avoids that cliche design aesthetic altogether. I don't entirely disapprove of the use of globe imagery, it's just been done so much in the World Timer space. It's great to see Nomos being Nomos and delivering their distinct design language, and employing colors in a brilliant way to bring those designs to life. This is a great looking watch, and it looks like no other World Timer currently on the market. And that's a strength. The bracelet on this watch is nice enough that it could make me rethink my stance on polished center links. It's very sturdy feeling and it has a really useful on-the-fly micro adjustment feature. The only downside is the aforementioned pin-based resizing system, but those do function and for the most part resizings don't occur all that often, so it won't come up much. All in all, the bracelet is a genuinely strong performer. This watch wears really well. It's not only a pretty universally appealing size at 40mm, but it's also very easy to wear thanks to its thin profile at just about 10mm thick. This watch is presumably designed with travelers in mind given its Worldtimer functions, and these easy-wearing dimensions combined with the super practical 100 meters of water resistance means that it would slip into that role seamlessly. It's made to be worn. It's easy to look at this watch's substantial price tag of nearly $5,000 and think, I could get a standard club sport for $1,500 less. While that's true and might be the right call for some people, those who appreciate the Worldtimer function might consider this watch to be a bit of a bargain. Omega's Worldtimer, for example, is twice the price. As in other categories, Nomos is leading the field in value for money. So, I started with a question. Is this watch the best Worldtimer on the market? Historically, Worldtimers have failed to light a fire in me, but the moment I laid my eyes on this one, I wanted it. When it comes to styling, I do think it's exceptional. Then there's price. Worldtimers are not a particularly cheap category of watches, and Nomos takes another big win in that regard as well. So yes, for my tastes, I would say that this is arguably the best Worldtimer out there. For me, the experience of this watch was yet another reinforcement of my love for the Nomos brand. The comfort, bold design, attention to detail, quality of craftsmanship, and overall value continue to make Nomos stand out. This is just yet another example of it. I have very few criticisms of this watch. It's been a really fun experience getting to try it out and film it. It's a very high quality piece. I do, however, think that those of you who like this overall aesthetic but aren't too sure about the Worldtimer functionality, you guys might be better off checking out the other simpler and less expensive models in the Club Sport line. That said, for anyone who's looking for a Worldtimer, I'd fully recommend you give this Nomos a look. So what do you guys think? Do you like this watch? Do you want one? What about the colorway? Do you like it, or would you prefer something else? Finally, what about the Worldtimer functionality? Is it something you could see yourself actually using, or is it more of a novelty for you? I want to hear about it, guys. Leave a comment below. All right, that's it. That's all. Remember to check the description for any relevant links like where to find this beautiful watch. Nomos hasn't asked me to link this piece. I'm just doing so as a resource for anyone who wants to check it out. Till next week, bye-bye.